Okay, if you've just finished watching question number 64, the quadratic formula, that little tune that I sang should still be in your head, but now let's actually put it to practice. So come with me. We are asked to solve this quadratic equation. Remember, quadratic is the same as second degree. We're asked to solve this quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. The first step is to make sure that your original equation is in standard form. In other words, descending power order equaling 0, which it is. I like my students to tell me before they go to the formula, I like for them to tell me what A, B, and C are equal to. A is always the leading coefficient, which in this case happens to be a 1. B is the coefficient of the middle term, which in this case is a negative 2. And C is the constant term, which is a positive 10. So let's determine those first. And now when I go to the formula, x is equal to, watch me, opposite of b, plus or minus square root, b squared minus 4ac, b squared minus 4ac. Let's change keys. All over 2a. You try that. All over 2a. Anyhow, there we go. Now what we have to do is take that disgusting mess and simplify it. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of, alright, negative 2 squared is 4. So put that in your brain, 4. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 10 is negative 40. 4 minus 40 is negative 36. And this is all over 2. Now, the square root of negative 36 is 6i. And if you don't understand that, go back to questions 61 and 62. Watch that video. Now, we have a total of 3 terms here when we use the quadratic formula, and the way you can decide if this can be reduced to lowest terms, look at all 3 of them and you ask yourself the question. You say, self, are all 3 of these divisible by the same number? And then I think self says, why yes they are. Self, they're all divisible by 2. So then self does that. 2 divided by 2 I hope is 1. Plus or minus 6i divided by 2 is 3i. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now, you don't have to show this 1 on the bottom. That's kind of silly, but I put it for emphasis. This one is not silly because it's a completely separate term from the 3i. So our answers are 1 plus or minus 3i. Those answers are not real. They are called complex. If you wrote them out in set notation, let me turn my paper sideways here so I have some room. One answer would be 1 plus 3i, and the other answer would be 1 minus 3i. And we are done. We've used the quadratic formula.